Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are Minions, SkepTok.
Hi, everybody.
Serenity Star 13.
Error.
Sora Luna.
Hello.
And DrFunctional.
My life is a black and empty hole.
We have a full boat tonight.
We do.
Yeah.
It was great. I went off to get libations. Well, not really libations, but just some beverages before the show. After sending the link to everybody.
Get through it
And
somehow.
I come back and there's all these people because there's been a few times where I show up and it's just Serenity or just Functional, which isn't necessarily bad, but you know, it is a little worrisome because you know what? We would do the show. It would just be very different than if there are 4 or 5 of us.
Harry and I have done a show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I may have imbibed on the sacramental wine.
There you go.
Good man.
Mashevich.
No, because let's get this party freaking started. Apparently, the Ontario government, because Manischewitz is an American company, decided to take it off every shelf in Canada or in Ontario.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, the Jews are going to turn.
Do they not understand?
The Jews and the Catholics are going to turn.
They don't, Skep. And these are from the same people who vote for the same party who says, oh, there's Palestinian terrorist sympathizers on your street, Grandma? Suck it.
Oh, my.
Wow.
It's,
Anyway, do introductions here before we start going off tangents again.
Yes,
Well, I have a little thing to say about Canadians later in the show. And it's not a really heavy topic, but I think it'll tie in nicely with what you were just talking about, Functional. So I'll do it earlier rather than later so you can remember how angry you are. Like that's going to be a challenge.
Beauty comment.
So Functional,
secret, Harry.
other than that, is there anything you'd like to share with the class before we begin?
no, you know.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Sora Canadian interneted herself. Keep going,
No.
Functional.
You know, life is life, and you just live in it one day at a time. Some of us live it 30 seconds at a time.
Yeah. The spreadsheet's looking pretty good. There's some good stuff in here. It almost looks like I knew what I was doing, which usually is a sign that it's all going to go sideways. I'll get all excited about technical excellence and not sucking, and then I'll start tripping over my words. It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be a terrible show. You have my word on it.
You know,
Great show.
Harry, you're too excellent to do humility right. You know that. Do you know that?
Dude,
Do you know how amazing you are?
Function. Okay, Skep.
You can't be humble.
Skep.
You should be arrogant.
Skep.
You got to go arrogant.
It
I want an
doesn't
accent.
matter what I do. I'm going to piss off somebody because the thing is that there's so many things that I really do suck at. I mean, like really badly, right? That I just try to own up to those so people know that I'm kind of grounded. And then there's things I'm really awesome at. There are probably things that I'm one of the top 1,000 people in the world at. Okay, that's just a fact. Okay, but I do think that false modesty is kind of annoying because what you're really telling somebody is I'm lying to your face and I'm thinking you're dumb enough to believe me, or we're just playing a
good
game.
point.
And it's like
On the other hand, nobody makes me feel like I do.
I can't win, you know. So I just have decided I'm not.
That's an
I-
actual joke right in there.
Oh.
There's a joke.
yeah.
There's a joke down there.
Oh, Sora's back.
Yep.
Harry, you can take solace in knowing, at least with me, you can never piss me off. Because with all the shit that's going on out there, my friends can never piss me off.
Well, that's good.
Oh, give me a chance.
I got to tell you, Functional. The spreadsheet is weird tonight. Okay, the spreadsheet is.
Is it weird like the last time I was on? Weird?
No,
or
it's
is
a totally
okay.
different kind of weird. It's a new and uncharted kind of weird in terms
Oh,
of
Lord.
the mental breaks between the different blocks of this are vast. You know, you're going to want to get a running start to try to, you know, clear some of these mental
Running
chasms.
start, was that a cripple joke?
Yes.
Sure, why not? At least I didn't call you Hot Wheels. Did you? What was it? There was some controversy recently. Somebody called Governor
It was a
Abbott
senator.
Hot Wheels.
It was a
Oh, yeah,
senator.
it was Crockett.
Yeah,
and she
from
was totally
Texas.
not making fun of his handicap. Yeah,
Not
sure.
at all.
Yeah, bitch.
I just
Anyway,
want to point out to everybody that this is a full moon night.
it is.
That's why the show is doing this.
And then the internet dies.
So
Yeah,
isn't
and then-
well?
yeah.
Yes.
And this is the flower moon too. This is the special moon.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't run speed test before the
Very nice.
show.
Ookla.
Do we have a blue moon this
So
year?
hi, Sora.
Hello.
Tell us.
Sorry, I didn't mean to fully hit myself.
Say hi to everybody before you disappear again.
Hello.
That's it?
How's it going?
I was kind of expecting more. Okay.
Shush.
Okay, well, it's a Saturday.
Mhm.
I chopped off all my hair,
Ooh.
and I went and
Ooh.
took myself out to lunch.
Mhm.
Ooh.
And there you go. In preparation for vacation in a month's time.
Yay, vacation.
Good job. Well, I have Nigel news for you, Sora.
Oh,
Hey.
Jesus.
So
He
Nigel
has risen.
is back with a vengeance, and it's not good. The situation last week was, Nigel's back, or maybe it was like 2 weeks ago. I said Nigel's back.
Can I interrupt you for just a second? I've got something to introduce to Nigel news. Raptus! Nigel news! Yeah? Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so Nigel is back. Nigel is not cute. Nigel is not sweet. Nigel is a vicious rodent. And so I wake up and I head into the ensuite bathroom because I'm a proper adult. I get that. What?
I have a feeling this is going to be bad. Go.
And I see two little Nigel turds on the floor of my master bathroom.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh, shit. Nigel is in the building. I don't know where he is, but I'm going to find him because I am like the Nigel Whisperer now. I can tell you what a rat is going to do. I am so, just the mentalist when it comes to these rats. I found out that something my grandmother's gigolo boyfriend did, because isn't it always, he decided, Skep, you'll love this, he ran a telephone line and a ground wire through a heater vent, which made it so the register wouldn't go all the way down, so I had just left it off because I hadn't safely disconnected the ground wire yet.
What?
So Nigel had found his way in through the furnace up into the heater ducts
Yeah.
and was sneaking up into the house through the heater duct that didn't have a register on it. Yeah. So
You have to rodent proof your house. You
I know.
really do.
I know
You really do.
supplies
Yeah.
have been purchased. Things will be done. It's just such a bore. So I found a page. I was trying to find out more about how best to deal with this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so they gave a bunch of advice. Like first piece of advice was leave the house, and maybe get a little bit of time away to mentally prepare yourself for what's about to happen.
For the war that is about to occur.
And then it says, before you remove the vent covers, be sure that someone is in place or close the door just in case the rodent runs out. By removing all the vent covers, you allow yourself a better line of vision to see what's in each duct. Take your flashlight and trapping mechanism and be ready to duck and catch whatever pops out at you.
Harry, just rent a barn cat. Just rent a barn cat and turn it loose in the house. It's
He's not wrong.
I mean, I was seriously gave about a 10 seconds of consideration to going, full snakes on a plane. Just. But no, I bought some stuff, and I'm going to put some one-way vents in and try to drive them out without having a bunch of dead rats in the heater thing. And I am really weak when it comes to this. Everybody has their thing, right? I don't really mind snakes all that much. I can chill with spiders. A lot of things do not gross me out that much. Even cockroaches, I don't like them, but they don't drive me completely nuts like they do some people. Because food service, right? Functional.
Well, and also they don't actually taste that badly. They kind of taste nutty. I've eaten 2 of them.
Well, there was one in I
mean, 2 live ones.
Well, I
2
went
live
to a Thai restaurant in Mountain View, and that whole block of Mountain View is old and roach infested. So they're constantly trying to keep the roaches out. And I actually found some in my Thai curry and just kind of put a sliced cucumber over it and pushed it off to the side so I didn't have to look at it. Managed to finish my meal.
Functional, is that you making the rat squeaky noises in the background? Okay, because I'm hearing.
Oh, I know what
I'm
it
hearing-
is.
I'm-
It's my
I'm hearing-
it's my standing desk. It actually squeaks if I hit it just right.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I thought it was having a stroke.
No.
Well, it's just occasionally functional to do the ceiling bird thing.
No, that's me. And
say you
until
hear
I
things.
until I figured out that this is my desk that does this, trust me, it was freaking me out. I was like, what? Everywhere. So
Being
yeah,
exposed
so
to Tyr functional. That's what I was talking about.
so I was saying hello to Sora, and now you know what's going on with me. It's like taxes and Nigel's, and just it's just
That's
the
great.
worst. It's just the worst. You got rid of yours, right?
Mine?
Yeah, didn't you have some issue with them trying to get into your basement and stuff?
So when we flooded, we found out that they never finished they never put up a wall,
Mm-hmm.
a proper wall behind the fireplace downstairs
Mm-hmm.
when they renovated the basement. So it's just the thin sheetrock, I guess, whatever you put.
Plasterboard,
very
sheetrock. That's right.
Plasterboard, yeah. There was no insulation. There was no anything
Mhm.
there. So it was just once the hole was cut, it was I guess right under the crawl space, which is just empty space under the house. So knock on wood, since that has all been sealed up and fixed, we have not had any issues. So
Good. Well,
I'm
hopefully
hoping
I'll
that
join the No
stays.
Nigel Club soon. God. All right. Anything else before we move on? From you, Sora?
oh
No. Okay.
no, just happy to be here.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
chill
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah. Vibes. We're going to talk about vibe coding later.
Yay.
Yay. Not a lot. Just enough to make fun of it a bit. Hi, Serenity.
Hello.
Anything new and exciting?
Mother Nature will not make up her mind.
Hmm.
We went from 80-degree day to 40 in a week, and then we're going to go back up, and then we're going to go back down. Technically, this month is actually the pink moon, not the flower moon. Flower moon's next month.
Mm-hmm.
The Skep said that, and I'm not trying to be mean, but that was what it was. We don't really have any storms coming right now, so I don't have that. The cats are fine. Posted a picture of one cat, and yes, his name's Yak Yak. Because he talks.
Yeah, Yak in his little burrow. That was very sweet.
All right. Anyway, but
Anyway,
yeah, no,
keep
no,
going.
no, really. No, I got not much going on here. Not until everything starts popping off. Whenever May hits,
Okay.
that's usually when stuff starts going sideways. Taxes are already done.
Ugh, don't even. I
Sent out.
finally did my sales tax return just a while ago, and it was zero because everything I didn't sell any physical goods whatsoever last year. It was all just like consulting income.
Yeah.
But you have to do a lot of work to get to zero. And it was. I realized that in terms of I use GNU Cache for my bookkeeping stuff because I hate Intuit. And I realized that the whole reconciliation process that I've been doing it completely wrong for a long time. I've been really angry at GNU Cache for making duplicate entries and all this stuff. It's like, no, I just didn't read the non-existent instructions. Good times.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but now I know how to do it. Unfortunately, I mean, it's only taken like a decade for me to figure out how to use it properly. That's fine. No learning curve, no skill issue here. Stupid Harry. So I guess that leaves SkepTok.
Yep.
Hi, Skep.
He's muted.
He was.
Nigel's
Hey
got
there.
him.
Sorry about that.
No, it's
I,
okay. It's okay.
Couldn't get to the right tab. Yeah, what's going on?
With you.
Oh, well, had the surgery last week.
Mhm.
Was I on the show last Saturday?
You were.
I don't remember it.
Well,
I don't
there might be a
remember
reason
any
for
of
that. Yeah.
They used these hypnotics, these amnesics, along with the anesthesia, and that's mostly a lost weekend. I couldn't remember if I was on the show or not.
Well, that's cuts down
Anyway,
on
that's the most
lawsuits.
interesting thing. That's
Yeah.
the most interesting thing about me. You should move on to something.
Well, you were actually entirely lucid, and you sounded a little subdued, but you didn't say anything unusual.
I have no memory.
That's okay.
No memory. The first thing I remember really is Sunday afternoon. That's the first clear memory.
Well, if only somebody had made a recording of it that you could go back and check.
Yeah, I guess that was stupid of me not to go back and check. Another mistake.
Now you're good. You didn't do anything
All
wrong.
right.
But would you say hi to our guest, please?
I already did in writing. I saw that nothing to see here. It has come to listen to us. Raymond Lewis is in chat also.
hello.
Welcome, gentles all. We love to do this show. We do it for you. And Barry goes to a lot of trouble to make a nice place for us once a week to get together. And we really appreciate the folks in chat when they show up. So,
And Skep, even though you were medicated, our bet still stands, and you still owe me $200.
okay.
You're kind of dropping in and out a little bit on your audio functional. So
Oh, I was just not looking at my microphone again.
That'll do it.
that next time.
hey, we can graft the pickup pattern on your microphone. Sounds like cardioid to me. Anyway,
Oh God!
where what?
You can tell it's a full moon.
Okay, so Serenity, what would you like? What kind of thing would you like to start with?
You can't just do blanket. You got to give me something.
Okay,
Give me some topics or something.
well, we
Or
could talk
vague
about.
hints.
We could start at the top of the
Categories.
spreadsheet and talk about illegal aliens.
Fuck it, go for it.
Like ET?
Okay, let's see. Let's
Like
do
one.
this.
We'll find out.
So, like this guy, judge rules Mahmoud Khalil can be deported.
Oh no!
So yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Darn.
A Louisiana immigration judge ruled Friday that activist Mahmoud Khalil can be deported. Khalil,
Activist, air quotes.
who is a Columbia University graduate student, led pro-Palestinian protests there last year, was detained last month after Secretary of State Marco Rubio, aka Little Marco, determined that Khalil was engaged in anti-Semitic protests and disruptive activities. Yeah, he looks like a guy who would give the Jews a fair shake, doesn't he?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but he is a former student of Columbia, no longer a student, but a full-time activist, as reported. That last part was reported that he's a full-time activist now, and that it wasn't about his, wasn't so much about the anti-Semitism as it was for direct calls of violence.
Yeah.
Perpetuated on American soil. So, I mean, I don't know. Is this AP?
This is NPR. I always
Yeah.
like to
Okay,
to bring
so
up a liberal
They're
source.
close, but if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet on them. They are close, and again, if somebody has better information, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read into this because I like this kind of story. He's not a very good man, and he was trying to convert actual students to be. I really hate using the word anti-Semitic, but like anti-Semitic, anti-America, anti-West, anti-Israel, anti-Jew. The whole anti.
Mm-hmm.
He'd fit real well over in London.
You could say he's a real downer. No, he's just negging the Jews because he likes them. No,
Yeah,
that's not
He
it.
just wants to pick up Rebecca, who works at Starbucks.
Yeah, Rebecca with some K's and an H.
He really wants to experience a Passover Seder for his
Yeah.
first time in his life.
Well, anyway, good riddance to this guy. I mean, on the one hand, I do obviously think that civil rights are a great thing. Don't, love the Bill of Rights, love all of the fine amendments that we have. But people who aren't covered by the U.S. Constitution do not have an unlimited right to just stay here and do whatever the hell they want to do. It's why that isn't obvious.
No,
I don't
kick
know.
him out.
Yeah. It's like you're
Well-
literally a guest.
Well, he apparently has a U.S. citizen wife.
Yeah.
So
Well, no. What I'm saying is like usually if you marry, they get you full citizenship sometimes, but that didn't work in this case.
Well, you still have to do the application.
Oh, I know. Oh,
Yeah.
I know. But there's
They
a lot
anchor
of people
for
who
you.
think otherwise.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just saying for clarity of the facts here. He never went through the process of doing any of the paperwork, so that's to you, buddy.
Yes, and the thing that makes it really, really funny is he was born in a Palestinian refugee camp in Syria, so we already know who he really belongs to.
People do have, changes of heart. They do change over time. I'm not thinking he's one of those people.
I'm not thinking he is either.
Yeah, and it's not like we're throwing him in jail or anything. We're simply saying, we just don't need you here now. Go elsewhere. And feel free to reapply to become a citizen at a later date. Adios.
To go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah, you got to do that. So, I was going to talk about fraudsters a little bit. Now, we talked about Charlie Javis last week, and she was the one that said that basically has been convicted of fraud, and it's a nice white collar crime. And
What did she do?
Oh, let's see. What did she do? She
'Cause I remember you saying she was one of the 30 under 30 people, but I didn't look into her because they're all crooks in my.
They
Lied
are
on his
all
investment
crooks
stuff.
there. That's the thing. Why can I not find it again? Well, I mean, she basically misrepresented things to investors. She was the one that had a friend make up 1 million or so fake customers and then sold the company, her
fun.
startup, to
That sounds
to
like
one
a
of
lot
the
of
major
Based on the
banks. and
value
they-
of having something like 2 million customers.
Yeah, that's not good. So it
That's
turns
bad.
out that, since she lost the trial, right, her lawyers and people who work for her lawyers have started contacting former jurors in the case, asking them
Ooh.
why they voted against her on the verdict.
Wow, you can't do that.
No, apparently you actually can do that. I was shocked to find this out. You can't intimidate them during the trial, but apparently it is actually quasi-legal
That's worrying.
to do this sort of thing after the fact. Have you heard about this, Skep?
That they need to close that loophole. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's
do you- what do you-
dangerous.
Talk,
what
talk
do-
about
what-
getting rid of anyone wanting to be on a jury.
What is it? What is this? Somebody was on a jury, voted to
Well,
convict
there
somebody,
was
and now
this-
they're being chased around.
Well, okay, so what's happened is there was a trial. This woman was found guilty of fraud. She's another one of those. She basically made up a few million accounts and then sold her business to JP Morgan. What they were doing was providing an online mechanism for people to apply for financial aid. And I think it was called Fred. And JP Morgan said, yeah, we would really be interested in buying this business and getting access to all your customer data. So she gave them enhanced customer data by making up over 1 million customers that she didn't have. Along with
Insert
like,
records into the database.
yeah, it's fine. And so
Yeah.
she's been found guilty. Now, she was complaining about having to wear an ankle monitor, even though she has dual citizenship and a bunch of money. That she shouldn't have to wear it because she has this budding Pilates business going, and it's really hard to do Pilates wearing an ankle
Does it have
monitor.
a million customers?
Yeah, it has 1 million customers, and she's going to be sentenced to some amount up to 30 years of jail time in July. Okay,
I'm going to be real fucking tacky.
yeah,
Let me guess, her dual citizenship is with Italy.
France.
Damn it, I was close.
Okay, so, but now her lawyers
No.
have been trying to figure, because they, of course, want to do an appeal and stuff, have been running around sort of hassling the former jurors, trying to ask them questions about why they voted the way they did. And the judge is kind of unhappy about this because even though the trial has already ended, they're like, hey, wait a second. Come on. I mean, seriously? Come on. This-
A lawyer who, if they damaged someone, caused them mental distress, something that had an effect, that might be actionable.
So it says here, the rules bar attorneys from contacting discharged jurors under certain circumstances, including if the juror had made clear they do not want to communicate with the lawyer and if the lawyer's communication involves misrepresentation, coercion, duress, or harassment. Lawyers who violate the rules of conduct can face disciplinary action, including a judge's reprimand, I know how terrible, and in some cases, the suspension or loss of one's license to practice law.
Which has never happened.
In response to an inquiry from Business Insider, a representative for Javis called it customary and entirely appropriate for defense consultants to investigate potential avenues for post-trial motions and appellate relief after the verdict.
That's true. I've heard of that. I've read papers on that. That is true what he said.
Yeah.
But that's not what's happening here. This is go after somebody and basically burnish the reputation, in my opinion, of the attorney. That if you're on a jury and you're facing this attorney, you don't want to go against this attorney. And there is a lot of that, particularly in the large northeastern cities. That at least I read stories about that.
Yeah, they're not all sweetness and light like Melvin Belli, right, Skep?
Yeah, no kidding. You know, I used to eat. I've seen Melvin Belli in the the little restaurant that was at the foot of his building. It was actually across the street from his building. And what the hell was the name of that? It was a little place in San Francisco, 500 block California Street, and it's famous. It's a Yugoslavian place, been there for years. The Tadic Grill, that's what it is.
Oh, that little place.
Yeah. Well, Melvin Bella, I used to see him in there because I used to go in there for Cioppino,
Well,
and I used to see him in there at lunch. I shit you not.
Melvin Belli, I mean, for anybody, is super famous. He appeared on Star Trek one
Jack-
time. He was
Jack
involved
Ruby's
with
lawyer.
he was Jack Ruby's lawyer. And he famously would fly the Jolly Roger on a flagpole
Yes.
outside his house / office after he'd won a case.
After he'd won a case, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
Now,
It was at his house. He did it once.
I don't think Melvin Belli would do this sort of stuff, but so these are just following up on the fraudsters. So first it was the ankle monitor, now it's the let's just sort of rummage through the jurors and see what we can find out about why we lost the case. So we have another one of these guys. Well, in this case, it is a guy. Albert Saninger, the founder and former CEO of Nate, an AI shopping. What?
Skep got kicked. He somehow accidentally kicked himself, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let him back in.
I know.
when
I'm
see
just
him.
giving you a heads up so this way you can keep an eye on him.
I can try. It's the app that promised a universal checkout experience was charged with defrauding investors on Wednesday, according to a press release from the U.S. Department of Justice. Founded in 2018, Nate raised over $50 million from investors.
Does that sound familiar?
It's recently raised a $38 million Series A bond in 2021, led by Renegade Partners. So, long story short, this app, which was supposed to be using AI to help people shop, was really just a bunch of people in the Philippines manually conducting orders.
Oh, that's right. I've heard about this. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, I was sitting there going, Nate sounds familiar. I was like, why does Nate sound familiar? That's why,
In reality, Nate relied heavily on hundreds of human contractors at a call center in the Philippines to manually complete these purchases. Yeah.
Jesus.
Man, there's a lot of white-collar crime going around, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
So did you...
What's usually, isn't it when recessions kind of start is when all the white-collar crime gets revealed because everybody starts looking more into the money?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I guess when times are good, you don't have to look quite so hard.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because it always feels like that. Because I feel like a bunch of stuff came out in 2008, around the time when a recession, right before the 2008 recession started. And like a bunch of people got hit hard and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, my nemesis is back in the news. Here
Which
we
one?
Yay!
Oh, Theranos found her. Okay.
Theranos fraudster Elizabeth Holmes keeps fighting, claims appeal judges were confused, illogical, and factually mistaken. So,
That's going to endear
That's
you.
going to work.
Okay. Here, I won't give
Way
you
to go,
the
sweetheart.
I won't give you the short, hairy précis. Okay, felonious Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes has launched another appeal of her conviction and sentence, claiming that a 3-judge panel that shot down her first appeal in February was confused on one point, illogical on another, and made factual mistakes in hearing her case. Holmes, 41, was convicted on 4 counts of felony criminal fraud in early 2022 for bilking investors in her now defunct Palo Alto blood testing startup, Theranos. So what she wants, okay, let's see, where is it? She wants, it's like, all right. In Wednesday's court filing, lawyers for Holmes demanded an en-banc hearing of her appeal by a panel of 11 Ninth Circuit judges, or a rehearing by the panel that rejected her appeal. So basically, you guys screwed it up because you're ignorant or stupid or lazy. How about I get 11 judges to listen to me say the same thing, and maybe they'll get it right this time?
It's like, I'm just going to keep making myself annoying and making no one like me.
Yeah.
Harry, she's looking kind of rough. Her hair's all frazzled. She looks like she's been, getting the sniffles maybe, and pale, and she's got some makeup on to hide the tears, but
Women's prison will do that to you.
She's looking pretty rough.
Federal prison, right? Right, Skep? Oh, Skep is muted. He must be dealing with some stuff.
I mean, I think
No, I just didn't want to be obnoxious because
No, that's okay.
I'm always the one who has keyboard noise, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, we need to debug that at some point. I think I think there's vibration going from your keyboard into the stand for your snowball, but that's not important right now.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
so this seems like an unusual move. I've heard of a lot of things, but basically saying the 3-judge panel screwed it up. Now I need 11 judges to act as a panel to overturn their ruling. That seems like a big ask.
That'll be interesting to see what their response is. I think that they're gonna, I hesitate to speculate what group of lawyers who have very mature paradigms about how they decide these things are going to do it. But I suspect none of these guys will want to, it's a clear con case. Everybody knows what's going on. They know that she's just being obnoxious. And usually judges find a way to deal with this sort of thing.
Yeah, she intentionally misrepresented the capabilities of her product in
Right.
order to keep her company alive.
Ta-da.
And there's plenty of evidence that that's what she did. She tried to
Yep.
throw her ex-boyfriend, Balvani under the bus, but that didn't work. But anyway, my nemesis is still out there causing trouble, and
She would have tried to throw the Virgin Mary under the bus.
she would have tried to throw me under the bus. I'm
Yes,
just glad that I
absolutely.
never spent that much time in Palo Alto that I ran into her.
Just be glad you broke up.
Yeah, well, I mean, broke up proactively.
Yeah. Pre-broke up.
No, she would have destroyed 30-year-old Harry. I would have had no defense against this woman.
Oh, yeah.
Well, wait a
30
second. Until she started talking in her man voice, I think that would have actually killed it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a second. Where'd that come from?
Crazy never really stopped me. And
Better.
kind of a miracle that I survived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
Ryder Harry, it doesn't turn you on.
No, it doesn't. Dude, once when I was a kid, I had like second grade. Okay, there was this girl who was I was friends with her. We were both friends with each other. Me and this girl named Renee. But Renee's mom had this super deep voice, and it used to just give me the willies. And I remember coming home and talking to my grandfather. I said, I don't know what it is about Renee's mom, but her voice weirds me out, and I just don't want to be around her because she's got like this super deep voice. So when I was a kid, it was definitely a problem. I mean, I'm over it now, I think. Anyway, though I digress. Never did quite figure that out. Actually, the thing is, Renee was super cool. I mean, if you're going to be like a second grade kid, a little dude, and you want to have like a little friend who's female to hang out with, Renee was great. She was fantastic. Way better than 6th grade camp. Okay, so one more fraudster to complete the set. Super Mayor Tiffany
yay.
Henyard skips Dalton meetings as controversial tenure nears quiet end. Poor Tiffany. She lost. She lost hard. I mean, she got crushed in the preliminaries, and the guy who is going to take over, I got like 98% of the vote. I mean, she lost big time. So she's mostly just decided, yeah, screw it. I'm not even going to bother showing up for meetings anymore. It's because I'm done here. Maybe she should, maybe she needs an ankle monitor. Just a thought. Just a thought. I'm looking forward to seeing the other side of her, like, disappearing into the distance. I look forward to not having to talk about her ever again because she's just bad news.
She's a certain kind of special.
Yeah.
I know she's tried to file against Dalton County. The judge threw that out. Is there any proceedings to find her criminally liable for any of this?
Well, Beetlejuice
she's
might
got-
come up with something.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff in
Oh, yeah.
limbo right now. But I think I think they were waiting to see if she got tenure again, because then they would be able to go after her. Then they would have a harder time going after her. But now that she's a normal citizen, it makes it a little bit easier, I think. But we'll find out in the next couple months whether anything comes of it or not.
So do they have
I-
diesel-powered shredders?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think she's probably got one of them, like parked out back behind the
Well-
mayor's office.
Considering how well she was paying off a lot of members of the police department, they probably did it for her.
Probably.
No, she got one on loan from Hillary Clinton.
There you go.
From Shredders R
They-
Us.
They,
they-
free bleach.
They washed the servers.
Akbar and Jeff's Shredder Hut. Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, that might be the last time we ever get to talk about her until they get free and unfettered access to all the stuff that she's been doing, and maybe there'll be a follow-up involving an orange jumpsuit for her. So we can only
God
hope.
willing.
We can only hope. Okay, let's put check marks next to those 4 things. Let's see. We'll talk about that later. Oh, one just really quick thing. Tesla has had so much bad PR lately because, of course, the media being so fair and unbalanced. Every single story about Tesla is almost bad. It kind of shocked me to actually see a positive article about a Tesla in Torque News. A few days ago, our Cybertruck was T-boned by a drunk driver at 60 miles per hour, and the police told us any other vehicle would have flipped. Yes, a low-profile,
Yeah, what a
weirdly
concept.
weirdly shaped hunk of steel doesn't roll over particularly easily.
Yeah, it's like, honey. Yeah, I'm not even touching that. You could driven a Subaru, and that wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have flipped either, baby. Like,
I
calm
mean,
down.
this is sort of like going on a blind date, and then somebody asks you how it went, and they say, "Well, she had strong white teeth." You know, I mean, that's
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm seeing tires ripped off.
look.
I'm seeing the back hatch got popped open from the hit.
Mhm.
Probably, like, it's like I'm glad it didn't flip, baby, but I don't know. Do you think it might? It's just it's just so weird. That's such a weird flex. It's like, all right.
All right. Well, let's talk about Japan a little bit. Let's drag
boy.
Skep back in. I want to make sure Skep sees this. Okay.
Have they screwed up, or have they done something good?
Well, I mean, it's Japan, so you know it's going to be weird. Okay, I
Tentacle
introduced to
film.
you Trump Tariff Man.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
so
Yes.
there's an AI thing that was made called Trump Tariff Man.
Oh, it's basically making him the God Emperor of saving everybody.
Well, I like the fact that Japan was represented as an onigiri.
Yeah, onigiri.
Yeah. Okay.
Yum.
Sure. Good job,
Okay.
Japan.
Wow, AI is racist.
AI is great.
Oh, well, yeah.
This looks like a great show. So this is apparently very big on social media in Japan right now. He's the hero we all need. This is pretty great, actually.
I'm sure this is pissing off all of the expats from other countries that have gone to Japan because they all follow on Twitch and they all hate Trump. So I'm sure this is pissing them off.
Well, let's just
Great.
take this in for a moment. We've got China, we've got Japan, we've got I guess the bear's probably Russia, and what is
Yeah,
going on here? I can't even track.
And a wolf, wasn't it?
Yeah, Russia. Well, they made it a bear in that one though.
Ah,
but
yeah.
Japan stayed
I
on
couldn't
Giddy.
tell if that was a bear. Big in this.
I don't know why that's an onigiri that talks.
And a bear that time.
It's so nonsensical. It's so weird.
Every anime ever.
It's not a bad
Oh,
look
and
for
his
Putin.
lightsaber.
And then there's Kim Jong. There's little Rocket Man. This is pretty great.
I know it's
Call him little
it's
rocket
charming.
man.
Yeah. Good job, Japan.
One thing about Japan, when they do stuff like this, or I've seen things, I guess, a little like this.
Mhm.
Maybe it's not a consistent principle, and but at any rate, they just take a Western idea, like the idea of Trump saving the world, and just plop it into all the possible Japanese contexts that people typically think that they themselves think of as they go through life. And that's what these things are. You know, you see them, you know, teaching school to the kids, lying around in the park, you know, doing all the average things, but in a Japanese context. And that is just wildly amusing.
It is pretty great. I like the neon tea that he's got. And I guess the bees are because China's leader likes honey a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, because
spelled Hunny.
Yeah, you don't. You can actually get executed in China for calling him Honey Bear.
Yeah.
No fooling. That's treason.
I'm glad there he is on the left with the little honey dispenser.
Oh, that is funny.
That is pretty great. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, thanks Japan. So
wait, what's with the onigiri above Putin's head?
I don't
get
know.
them riding a bear. Is that like Russian onigiri?
I honestly don't know. It's extremely confusing.
Best not to dwell on it.
No. I'm
Why
trying
is
to
Putin screwing a polar bear? Oh, I didn't. Okay.
That is a good question here. I'm trying to find one of my articles sort of went missing.
In frame.
It does that.
The AI thing is so all over the place because one minute it makes it look like he's like helping save Japan, and then the next it's like it has them all stand. It's weird. Like it's like I want to know what keywords they put into the AI.
Yeah, AI is pretty great. Let me see. I seem to have lost a link that I should have here. Hold on a second. Let me.
By great, you mean the end of humanity?
Are you saying it's the missing link area?
Yeah, it's totally a missing link. Let's see.
Boo.
Okay, Kawasaki
Oh
unveils.
God, that thing! I hate that thing. I
Unveils
hate that thing. I
off-road
hate that thing. I
hydrogen
hate that thing.
robot horse. Now I don't.
Hey!
Okay,
Yes.
first of all, you guys should know Kawasaki is never going to make this in production. I mean,
Oh,
I
absolutely
would,
not. Yeah.
They love making their weird little prototype things. So why you would make the horse hydrogen powered, I don't know. It's just maybe they thought it was April 1st when they put this out.
Horse's part? I don't know.
Yeah. Because,
There you go.
you know, why wouldn't you, why wouldn't you have this robot
It's
horse?
It's as a matter of fact, there is a lot of hydrogen in horse parts.
Yeah.
Because if it comes out as methane, you've basically got an alkane with a bunch of hydrogens tied to it. If it comes out as it can come out as free hydrogen, believe it or not, because of certain metabolic processes.
Yeah.
Nice.
So here's the robot horse going through the field.
Yeah.
This is
I want
totally
one.
legit. Yeah.
I want one.
This looks
Things that are
No.
never going to happen for 1,000.
Things
No.
it's
But
it
it
would never,
looks
it would
so
never break
cool.
down. It would never break down. Nothing would ever break on that.
On my hydrogen powered
Oh,
horse.
that's a hell no right there.
That's so cool.
Well, if it happens or doesn't happen, thanks Japan. That was great.
I'd do it with a parachute on.
Yeah. I don't
Have
think
you seen the robot dynamics, guys, with the Stitch? Not Stitch. The dragon, for How to Train Your Dragon
no.
cover.
That's
They
the
did
reason
an
why those.
animatronic. Oh, it's so freaking cute. It's like the best thing ever. It just makes me so happy. So they, Boston Dynamics, not Robot Dynamics. Boston Dynamics, and then with the skin of a dragon from like How to Train Your Dragon, it is just the best thing ever.
That's the reason
really
why
Is it this?
Yes.
it moves so weird.
No, sir. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I don't like
Oh,
it.
I want 10. It's like a live version, like Tamagotchi Furby thing.
Give it some razor sharp teeth and make it small if it fits in my heater vents, and you got a sale. Because I will totally send a robot dragon into the heater vents to go after Nigel.
Well, it's like everything Boston Dynamics makes. It's like they can't figure out how to get the motion to be fluid,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't look right. it looks uncanny valley. Like, one, I know dragons aren't supposed to exist anyway, but it just, the movements aren't right for the way the joints bend and how the head is, and it just, it looks wrong. It's just,
Or Chuck E. Cheese than
yeah, it looks
It's still a
animatronic, not
remarkable
robotic.
achievement. It's a remarkable achievement.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, it's remarkable, but it's like they're using something that Boston Dynamics has made for years that they haven't done anything with other than maybe make bomb stuff, and now they're using it in a Universal Studios amusement park
Mhm.
because they can't get anybody else to buy it.
Yeah, I don't think
I-
Robot Dog is going to sell real well. I'm just saying.
and I for one would like to hear from Mickey and Minnie on Sora's plan to replace them with robots.
They'd still probably
I
buy
never
it.
Skins
said
on them.
about replace.
Hmm.
Oh, we all know what happens next. First, you get the robot dog, then you get the robot
I'm
dog
saying-
skins, and then the dogs are panhandling outside of Union Station.
Sora just needs an off switch for her dogs. That's all she needs.
She needs to
Bedtime
not bite.
switch. Yeah, you just need to teach the 3 rules of robotics to your dogs. Everything will be fine. All right.
Just to Minnie, because Mickey's an angel baby boy.
Um,
But Minnie on the
You hear
other
that,
hand,
Minnie? You hear that? She's talking shit. She's talking shit.
She was just here a minute ago too.
so you're stepping away in about 40 minutes, right, Serenity?
Yeah, about, yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about modern fiction. Okay. And we've talked about this before because the problem is that technology kind of ruins a lot of storytelling because a lot of things that sort of work when you don't have technology stop working. Like I showed this before, which is the scene from Bullet, which I absolutely love, where they're all sitting around waiting for the telecopier to show the picture of the person they think might be the suspect. And there's like a whole room full of people, and there's all this tension because we don't know what he's going to look like. Now it'd be like, hey, just text me a picture of this idiot, right? And then it just comes up on your phone. You send it up as a group chat. You know, try not to accidentally send it to that guy at the Atlantic, but I mean, it's really easy to just share that kind of information. So, not hard at all. But I was looking at this this little clip from Deep Space Nine, and I was realizing that the problem is getting so pervasive that even the future is being ruined by AI now. So
Some kind of large subspace.
So we're here at Deep Space Nine, and a ship shows up outside that's cloaked, and readings are all over the place. And why is this happening? Let me skip ahead a little bit.
The
Torpedoes
energy signature is fluctuating. It's decloaking.
Oh my god, I get goosebumps every fucking time, Harry!
Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's so
It's
good!
definitely a Federation starship, but
Yeah.
I've never seen that design before.
I wonder what it is.
Federation ship with a cloaking device?
It's hailing
So
us.
we have all these question marks, and then suddenly,
Hello, Major. Sorry to startle you, but I
Yes,
wanted to test
back.
Defiant's cloaking device.
Defiance!
but think about it now. If somebody just showed up on video and looked like Avery Brooks, that doesn't mean a goddamn thing thanks to deep fakes. This whole scene now no longer works because I'm pretty sure that even now, and honestly, with Avery Brooks' acting style, a deep fake would be pretty hard to tell the difference. He's a little wooden in this particular show, but this scene from Deep Space Nine doesn't actually hold up now in the light of technology we have now, centuries before.
Ah.
Well, I mean, it does though, because they would have had an encrypted channel, and the only way the other ship would have gotten to them is if they were especially hailing them on a Federation channel.
They have to write it. They have to write it differently because technology has now made the way this scene worked not work anymore.
Harry, they've cut you off at the pass because there was technobabble speech previous season, I want to say episode 3 or 4, where they actually mention that there are deep fake sort of like algorithms in the communications stuff that basically sends up red flags, and Dax would be like, "Oh, the computer's flagging this isn't real." And later on, they doubled down by saying, "Okay, well, this is an artificial amalgam of Kira's speech, the one that was the assassin that was trying to
Yeah.
Kira and killed all of her friends and whatever that were part of the resistance."
Yeah.
And again, Dax was like, "Oh, well, it's flagged as sort of like this is potentially a deep fake," and it was what was the Ferengi guy's name?
Quark.
Nog. Nog was
Nog.
like, "Trust the lobes," because he could hear that yes, it's fake, but it's of a real person speaking. It's an amalgam, so it's not created by this fake stuff. It's somebody who took all the bits and pieces of these speeches that Kira took and was like, no, this is a real voice that's just been composited together. So you're kind of right, but you're also not, because Star Trek creators are so fucking smart. They have answers for fucking everything almost. Oh my god.
You're taking this section of this episode in a vacuum and not putting it in the larger scope of the entirety of the Star Trek universe up to this point, because they talked about Federation ships being only able to use Federation channels. They've already proven that at least partially it looks like a Federation ship. Like, so that I understand what you're getting at, but at the same time you're looking at this as a singular insular moment, not as a larger in-universe moment, where we know they have channels, we know they have encryption, we know they have the thing that Functional talked about. We know all that stuff.
And when they subvert it, it's a big deal.
So seeing Avery
How
Brooks'
are they
big
on a
mug
Federation channel?
isn't really the issue. But I know you've seen some TUES, right? Functional. Functional.
He said yes, he's seen it all.
Sorry, did that cut out again?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But, and Skep, do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember the episode? I can't remember what it is. Where basically it's like I'm gonna like switch my consciousness into somebody else's body. It was. I actually hate that trope so much. I despise that. It's almost
Freaky
as bad as
Friday.
time travel. God, I hate it. I hate it. The novel Turnabout by Thorne Smith is the only exception that I like. But Skep, there was an episode where this woman, she wanted to be a Starfleet captain, and that didn't work out because apparently women can't be Starfleet captains or something. And so she decides to trick Kirk into going down, and they switch. And so they're trying to do this irregular request. And so what does Scotty do? He stands on procedure and wants an authentication code. It didn't matter that Mr. Spock was there. It didn't matter that it was on a secure channel. It didn't matter. None of it mattered one little bit, because Scotty was going to stand by good security practices like a good engineer should and say, okay, fine, what's your damn authentication code? Tell me that, and then we can complete this fine transaction, and I'll beam you up and do all this other stuff.
I would be very surprised if he did not have some direct input into that part of the script, saying, no, I would stand there and I would absolutely manifestly refuse until I had the proper authentication.
Yeah.
That would be perfect, and it fits in perfectly with the plot. That's his training in the Army, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Well,
Real life,
yeah,
I don't have any evidence of that, but
if it's with his characters,
I'm not asserting that is true, but it would seem to me that he possibly was influenced.
We're just having an informal conversation about how technology changes fiction. That's all we're doing. So, Functional. There was a show that I went back and watched an old show. It's called Honey West, and it's like she was a private detective with an attitude and sass. She was a sexy private detective. Anne Francis, 2 degrees of separation, by the way. And she was in this. They commonly bring out gadgets and things like a long distance microphone. The fact that she had a car phone was like actually instrumental to it, because it wasn't like old time detective stuff where you had to go back and compare notes with people. No, she'd pick up her car phone in her convertible and call back, right? And I look at that stuff and I just have to go, okay, look, time and place, just enjoy it. Don't be that guy who just picks apart the technological limitations of it. Because in a way, I feel like technology makes the storytelling worse. I actually don't like the fact that technology kind of funnels the way stories work into a narrower and narrower sort of cone. That's my thesis, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the Star Trek writers knew their shit and could do a bang up job, no matter if it was TOS or Voyager, on sort of keeping it analogous. I mean, amorphous enough that they could go back and sort of like change something that they would bring up in the future.
Yeah.
But not keep it hard set. So when you have those hard set sort of like technological points, it does limit you very like quite a bit. And yeah, when you're in a point where you're this far ahead, like this is the point. This is the reason why I don't want to say an issue with, but it's harder for me to watch TOS versus the others because of the little things like the doors or the look of the lights or the paneling. Like it looks very dated, and it causes me a little bit more of me has to be invested to sort of look past the little technological oops, oh, okay, we didn't get this exactly perfect. So sue me, Mr. Functional, Dr. Functional, thank you. And you know what? Okay, you have a point. I'll just, suspend disbelief.
Well, I feel like lately YouTube is trying to gaslight me into watching the Christopher Pike thing. Was it Brave New Worlds?
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. Brave New Worlds. That's a different show. Strange New Worlds. Because I've seen a few clips of it, and I almost want to watch it because I'm feeling really deprived on Star Trek. And I like a lot of things in there, and I can even, after watching some clips of it, I can even get past the weird Spock that they have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know it's gonna break my heart. I know I'm gonna be mad at myself for letting myself think that it was something I wanted to watch.
It's the least worst thing that they've put out.
Yeah.
Memory, but it's still just not worth it. I really wanted to because there's also the patriotism in me, and I even said it the proper British way, patriotism. That because it was filmed here in Toronto, and blah blah blah. And I was like, I really want this to do well because I want the local industry to do well. But it just there's only so much disbelief I can suspend. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like Spock is not supposed to be having relationships with Nurse Chapel when he meets Nurse Chapel in TOS for the first time. Kirk actually introduces them, or was it McCoy? I don't remember, but like one of them introduced. Oh, this is Nurse Chapel. Oh, very very nice to meet you, Commander Spock or Mr. Spock or whatever the fuck you said. And like that's something you can't really throw away. Or the fact that Spock is constantly emotional and dealing with his emotions when, again, in the TV show, in the movies, they go out of their way to be like, well, no, that's his problem is he never was in touch with his human side. And it took Kirk and McCoy some, years of friendship and camaraderie to sort of teach Spock that it's okay to be in touch with your feminine side. I mean, your human side.
Nice. Hey, Sora.
Somebody appreciates it.
I want to make fun of Canada a little bit here, so you can help me. So there are probably a lot of people from Vancouver and thereabouts that seem to be snowbirds that head down to Palm Springs in California.
Yeah.
Yeah, because let me see, where are we? Canada. Where are you, Canada? Sorry. Canada versus U.S. Okay.
Functional, if you were saying something, sweetheart, no one could hear you.
I was just mumbling to myself. Sorry, I was just asking. Palm Springs, is that West Coast?
West Coast.
Yeah, you
California?
are sort of cutting in and out.
You're thinking Palm Beach in East Coast.
No.
So it's Palm Springs, West Coast, Palm Beach.
Well, I wasn't thinking anything. I wasn't sure if that was East Coast, West Coast, because yes, the people from up here, we call them Canadians. The people from the East Coast go down to the East Coast down there in Florida, and the people from the West Coast and the prairies go to like California and Texas.
Yeah.
But I was mumbling to myself.
Like probably Arizona and stuff like that too.
But Palm Springs is like super cool. The weather, if you like dry heat, great place to be. It's also super gay. I mean, it's like gay people love Palm Springs. They really like it. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Just saying, it's like it's very hip and open and all that sort of stuff.
Very good. Very gay.
Not a place where most people would think it's oppressive to be.
Okay.
However,
but it's America. It's America,
however, despite Palm Springs' best efforts to say, look, we're not like the rest of mean old nasty America. We're Palm Springs. We're hip. We're with it. We get it. A lot of Canadians seem to be being very vocal about the fact that we feel like we should just not do this. So it says some Canadian visitors are saying that they are alienated by Trump's rhetoric toward immigrants, his initiation of a trade war, and his comments referring to Canada as the 51st state. you probably would be hard pressed to find a place in the United States with a smaller percentage of people voting for Trump than Palm Springs.
Yeah, it just sounds like they ran out of money and can't go, and they're trying to find an excuse for the reason why they can't go, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, so Palm Springs is trying really, really hard to not have all the people from Vancouver that came down here to get away from the winter just go home to sort of prove a point.
But wouldn't they be going home now anyway, because it's warming up?
I don't know. Our expert on Vancouver is right there. Would they normally
Hi.
be going home?
I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems it's a little bit early in the year. They're probably end of May, I would guess,
Yeah, because
when the weather gets better.
it's not just the local paper here. Here's the Vancouver Sun, why these BC snowbirds went out to Palm Springs and why the California city needs them to stay. This just seems kind of pointless to me, but yeah,
well,
that doesn't
I'll tell you
surprise
Very
anybody.
why.
young-looking.
No, he looks like he's
Go
in good
ahead.
shape, but he looks a little older. 70s.
So functional, what are you saying?
Oh, sorry. He looks pretty. He looks older. He's just in good shape. See, the thing is that there are going to be all these pro Canada, anti-Trump advertisements, propaganda, let's call them, on both sides of the border, because that's the whole liberal strategy for them to get it back into federal office, is by saying, oh, all the hardships that you've been encountering for the last 10 years, that wasn't the Liberal Party doing that. That was Trump. That was the mean old tweets Mr. Orange Man Bad has been doing, and they fucked up Canada. Where that's our side. So the hey, we didn't have any part to do with this. American side is saying, well, no, we still like you guys. We like it when you come here and visit us, and and that's what the we have to sort of remind each other, as people, not as different citizens, or just as people, that a lot of what's been going on is just it's the elites, the ruling class. It has nothing to do with us. Like the fact that you guys, Harry could be from Istanbul. I wouldn't care, because Harry's a good dude that I get on with. Sora could be a fellow Canadian, and we get on just fine too. Like, I mean, the difference is so negligible, but these people, they need to make it about them, and that ultimately, at the end of the day, is what they're doing. Look at how we're going to defend you from big old Orange Man tweets, or from down there. Look at how we're going to support America First policy by saying "fuck you, Canada." And it's like, I've had people I consider friends going, and I saw this happen with the new wave of feminism and the first wave of Trumpism, I guess you'd call it, that where the transgender ideology. I'm going to start losing people who I once considered friends and acquaintances, because they're going to be so pig-headed about this. Just to briefly touch on it, tonight was the first night of Passover, so I was with family, and suffice it to say, I tried to ask questions about my family, about some of the things that they say about these types of policies, and the best I got out of any of them was, "Oh, well, I hate Americans." Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Okay. Sure. That's not an answer. That's not a refutation or supporting policy that I'd like to talk about. But okay, you're entitled to your opinion. You hate Americans. Why? It's just Trump, Orange Man Bad, and like tariffs, and like, okay, it's fine, whatever. Anyway, moving on. Oh, how's your dog doing?
By that logic, we should be allowed to hate Canadians with how much you all tariff our shit.
Yeah. Also, your whiskey really isn't that good. Sorry.
And I'm trying to. I didn't want to get too far into it, but like I'm trying to instill into some of these family members that it is the propaganda talking to you, and B, like we no, the tariffs aren't a brand new thing that were just invented by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways, because, like Skep and I were saying last week on the show, there is no other relationship between between two countries on Earth that compares to the historical friendly competition sort of thing that Canada and the U.S. has had. We're competitors, but we're also great friends because we're so closely ideologically connected, geographically connected, economically connected. That you we do things like, hey, Ontario, we sold you electricity for the last 40 years for 80 cents on the dollar. Why? Because we wanted to incentivize you guys, buy our steel. You guys manufacture that steel into cans, send those cans down to Mexico where they pack the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the blah, 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 blah into these cans and then sell these canned vegetables to Canadians and Americans and Brits and like people all over the world. It's such a great, I'm doing the hands across America like partnership thing. It's strong, it's good, and we can't allow. And now I'm going to get a little ranty. We can't allow the people who think that they are
Just
our
now.
betters tell us differently. Just clap. Wait, I didn't hear what you said because
Sora said just now.
just now.
All right, I'm trying to plan things around when Serenity's going to be gone. We have
I have 21 minutes.
well, I'm trying to figure out if I can fit. We wanted to talk a little bit about sort of video games, so I'm going to talk to you directly, Serenity.
Hit me.
So I was thinking about my sort of video game journey, right? And I know that I'm way older than you in video game years. Okay, maybe not in geologic time scale, but in video game years, we come from totally different generations of these sorts of things. So
How do you, okay, well, time out. How do you mean? What was your first system?
well, that's what I was going to show you. So
Okay.
forget systems. I would go to the arcade
Aid.
and play this. So this is Battlezone, and it is just so awesome. It was great because it had vector graphics, and you would look through this little heads-up thing and try to steer and not get killed. This was so much fun.
It's the green and black version of the Nintendo 3D thingy.
Except it predates that. But,
Oh, I know it predates it by a long time. I know.
but this was like big fun. This is what you would get if when I was a little kid and I would go to the arcade. Is a game like this. So this is sort of like the beginning. Is something like this. This was called Battlezone. I don't know, Skep, did you ever play video games when you were like an adult-ish?
Sure.
Yeah.
We had pinball machines.
Oh yeah, I played
Back in
pinball
it.
machines like nobody's business.
Pinball machines are great. Tilt. But, that's an example, sort of starting out in my little journey. And then to give you another example, I couldn't find a black and white version of this, but I spent so much time playing Asteroids on the TRS-80. Okay, which
I remember Asteroids.
looks a little bit like this.
Ah, buddy.
This is the color
Oh,
version.
yeah.
I didn't have color.
Penis, the flying penis.
My orthodontist's office had this game, so it was basically like if the screen was in a table, so you could sit down beside it, and then it like the controls are on top of the table, and then you could play this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I remember.
It's really
I remember when Pizza Huts had the Pac-Man table. I remember that.
That's great. That's the best part about going there.
But
I think we experienced this just at the, like we all experienced this. We were just different ages at the time, Harry, because you were what, like teen, preteen, young man?
That came out in '81, so I wasn't even born yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, even still, they were still around for a little while. So even though I was born in 79, 80, like I played them, but it was a different experience.
Well, I mean, dude, you're talking to the girl who played pinball willingly when she was anywhere from 10. Still now, I still do. So I played older stuff because it was fun.
But I'm saying we experienced that at a much younger age, physically, than Harry experiencing or Skep experiencing it for the first time as young men. Like they were men already. We were children, but we still got to play these games, and they were
No.
everywhere. Even
What are you talking about? Skip hadn't even hit triple digits yet. Like Skip was young. What are you?
No,
talking
he
about?
was young, but there was like a Magnavox game system that my pseudo uncle in quotes had, and then there
I
was
had ColecoVision.
yeah at this
television.
restaurant we used to go to. There was like a very sophisticated game. It would tell you your algorithm. I'm sorry, your what's that thing based on your birth date? The biorhythm.
Astrology.
Yeah, it would give you your predict things for you with your biorhythm. But that was really stupid. But there were early game consoles like Pong, which came out in the 70s, and that was when I was just a little kid. And but Pong was really boring. I'm sorry, I was bored with Pong even then. I did not see the appeal. Skep, you wanted to cut in, I can tell.
I put it in the comments.
Oh, okay. We had a 4341 mainframe and played Adventure. Yes, absolutely. I played Adventure on the TRS-80 as well. I have two more that I just wanted to bring up.
I wanted to just say one thing about that.
Sure.
When we played on the mainframe, you didn't get output on a screen. You got output on green bar.
Yeah.
So when you say enter the cave, the response comes back as a printed line on green bar print in a dot matrix printer. Actually, it was in a chain printer.
And you were
That was
lucky to
actually-
have that.
We're printing on a what's called a chain printer. Harry might know what this is. I don't think anybody else will.
Oh yeah.
And it was just awesome to play on because it kept the motor running all the time. So it was all like, when printing.
Well, remember there was the Star Trek game. Did you ever play
by a GRU or whatever?
Did you ever play the Trek game on the printer, the line printer terminal?
No, I never played.
So
Trek.
there was
I
a
think I've
Star
heard
Trek.
about that.
There was a Star Trek game, and you had fairly simple commands that you would send
That
back
was
and
later.
forth. But there were some people who figured out that if they essentially hacked their terminal, so that they essentially were able to create a macro, they could always win playing Trek against other people over these modem lines.
Absolutely, in
Because it
fact,
would just give this run this macro. And it's like, oh, you can move and then do that and shoot.
Yeah.
You're like a genius.
one of the cool things about being the computer guy at an aluminum foundry that makes parts for the F-16 here in Fort Worth was that I got to play the flight simulator that Lockheed had, and we actually had that on an MS-DOS 3.3 machine back in the 80s. This was in the 1980s. And it had a flat file called parms. And I looked in this file called parms. And there was this thing that said stall speed, 125. So I changed it to 0. I could now stop in midair and kill everybody. I could shoot anybody.
That's nice. Well,
Anyway,
speaking of DOS games, okay, so the first DOS game that I played a lot was like a space trading game.
Memory set.
And it was basically almost all text-based, right? And you'd travel from planet to planet, just sort of trading stuff with people. And this is what it looked like. It was, not particularly sophisticated, but I spent so much time playing this game on a leading-edge PC with a 30-megabyte hard drive.
Woo!
A hard drive I installed myself.
I was going to say,
there,
how about you built that piece?
Skep, there was not enough room for the hard drive in that leading-edge PC case. I got out a hacksaw and modified the case so I could fit that inside the chassis.
Totally have done that. I have inserted boards on the bottom to make the case high enough. I've done all those things, Harry.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But this is gonna maybe not surprise you. The last game, like the first sort of as a proper grown ass adult game that I spent a lot of time playing
City
was
Skylines?
No. Doom on the SGI workstation.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
There was a port
on
of
Silicon Graphics.
There was a port of
Silicon
Doom,
Graphics.
and I was playing it on an Indigo 2.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I played way, way, way more Doom on an Indigo 2 than I ever should have. I mean, I was really, really good at this game. I was actually really good at Asteroids, too.
You can administer your network and play Doom
At the same time.
simultaneously.
Yeah, so not just Doom, but Doom on a Silicon Graphics workstation.
That's kind of awesome.
I
Yeah,
had
back
to.
then that was the shit.
Oh man,
Dude,
Doom was so much fun. But I'm curious about Serenity. Now it's your turn to tell me about the stuff that you got you sort of started when you were younger.
ColecoVision had its own version of the Asteroid game, like most of them did. The older ones, the older games.
Mhm.
It also had Pong. Pong was more fun when you played it with other people, though. But it also had like the basic stuff, like it had like checkers and stuff like that. But then I can't remember what the system was that came later that I played. Was it Genesis? But there was one of them that they had like the Batman game. And it was the old one where you had to like walk sideways in it and you had to hunt Joker down, but you had to go into different parts of rooms and find certain items and leave. I never really played text games until I was much older. Just because the first game I played on a computer was Hangman. And it was Hangman that you had to go through the DOS boot up to get to. Because you didn't really go through the other stuff or the old school Britannica history game where you're wandering through the castle and it's a maze. There's that one I played too. But then eventually I graduated to Game Boy and the original Zelda. And then after that I graduated to the Super NES with Super Mario World, Knights of the Round, Batman and Robin, which was the George Clooney Batman movie, game based on the Batman movie. Then I went PlayStation 1, all the Final Fantasy, a bunch of the Final Fantasy games. The Final Fantasy game I started with was Final Fantasy VIII, and that's still my favorite one.
That name always cracks me up because there's nothing final about any of them.
Well, it's a Final Fantasy for that story of that world. That's what they're getting at. I played a bunch of JRPG stuff. Legend of Dragoon. I'm still hoping for that thing to get eventually a remaster.
With the same combat system too.
I love it though.
Don't change it.
God, I love it. I played a bunch of. Then I made it to PlayStation 2, which had a bunch of other stuff in it. Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2. I played the Dragon Quest games. I like the lore and stuff of the Resident Evil games. Never got into it. Played Ocarina of Time on the N64, which is still one of the crowning games of all time. Played the Silent Hill games because I like spooky stuff and I like puzzles. And I've slowly graduated to now I have an Xbox Series X, a PS4 Pro, and a computer.
Yep. I played the hell out of Army Men Air Attack on the PS1. A surprisingly good game. You would think not good, but actually a ton of fun. That was
also Command and Conquer. I loved playing Command and Conquer. That's also my favorite one because I like the real-time strategy ones where you look down. Command and Conquer was a good one. That one I played. I also I'm weird because most people have like not one type, but most people kind of stay down a similar road. I like some shooter games, RPGs, and racing games.
Yeah. I played the hell out of Otogi on the Xbox. The thing is, I feel like I play fewer games than you do more intensively. I'm like a serial monogamist when it comes to video games.
I will bounce around a little bit, but I usually it's mostly just to kind of come back to the game because if I get frustrated, it's easier for me to just I'm going to go play a different game until I've stopped being frustrated with you and step back from you and think clearly before I come back and get real pissed. I played Castlevania on the original PlayStation. That's still my Castlevania Symphony of the Night. That's still one of my favorite games too.
You know the asteroids thing I was mentioning? I know I've told you this story. My friend Bill lied to me about what his score was. And I decided to be competitive. And I got to the point where I could roll the game over and over and over again. I played asteroids for 8 hours straight. And the only thing that stopped me was a bio break. So I go to tell my friend Bill about my victory and how thoroughly I crushed him. And he laughed. He said, I made it up. I never got anywhere close to that score.
He just knew you were that super competitive.
Yeah. I got owned. It was bad.
He's just motivating you.
But Sora's a completist, so she knows what I'm talking about. It's like
She's a completionist to a point.
If I'm going to play a game, I'm going to master it, and I'm going to
almost to the end.
I'm going to dominate.
Not annoying me.
Dominate.
There are some games where it's kind of like, okay, now you're getting pedantic about the shit you're making me do, and I'm not going to be a completionist about this. You can get
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
There's some games that get like that, and I'm just like, no. A bunch of them are the Final Fantasy games because I refuse to be a completionist with Final Fantasy game because some of them are so based on RNG that I'm not doing it. It's the one thing, like one of my favorite JRPGs of the last, like that's been done in the last 15 years is the Persona series. And that's the one thing I don't like about the Persona series is that there are certain, so you build relationships and all this kind of stuff in the world that the game is with your teammates because it's a team time-based combat system. And to get their powers unlocked, you as the main character have to make friends with them and do stuff with them and find out how they tick and everything like that in a good way, like to help them. And but sometimes the bonus numbers you get that help pump that up are based on RNG. So every guide is like, well, if you don't get a 2, you need to just go back to your previous save and then try again until you get a +2. And I'm like, fuck you.
Fucking annoying.
I'm like, no, it's like Japan. I love Atlas, who is owned by Sega. I love these games. I'm not reloading 5 million times. I'm just going to wait to the point in the game where you always give us the ability to like pay another character to up the bonuses and get it back that way because I'm not doing this.
Well, let's.
These are 150-hour games. I'm not doing that.
Well, you're going to run off in a moment. So let me
About
ask
6 minutes, yeah.
Sora and Functional, what were your sort of definitional games? Just like ones that sort of were milestones in terms of gameplay for you guys.
So I was not allowed to play video games.
That's why you're such a fiend these days.
I started playing once I graduated high school. I don't count, like, I had math blasters and reading blasters
That does not
and all
count.
the right type, but that
Yeah,
doesn't count.
that does not count.
Those are not. Occasionally, my dad let me play the pinball game on his Windows computer, but very rarely. And he did have a skiing game on those really large, very floppy discs, like the really big ones with the hole in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he didn't let me play that very often for some reason. So my first real video game was World of Warcraft. Once I got my laptop, that I played actually a lot. Now we did have Myst games, and then I had Warcraft 3 here because my stepdad really loved those games. So I did like play a little bit from him, but I wasn't allowed on the computer for very long. So I don't count those because I'd have like half an hour and then you have to get off. Yeah.
Maybe not a milestone for you since it was just such a nibble.
Yeah, so so I started more like an adult. I love video games. I think they're great, especially if they're fantasy or RPG or stuff like that. It's just very immersive. I really, really enjoy them.
You know that when the PS3 came out, there was an Asteroids type game on the PS3. And all of my old Asteroid skills that I built up through spite as a kid allowed me to break into the top 100 worldwide on that game.
Nice.
Which is pretty good for like, you know, a not super young person. I mean, that was like in my 40s I was doing that.
And another thing. So I also got my first so I received as a graduation present iPhone would be 4S or 4S. I can't remember which version it was at that time. Anyway, so what came with the iPhone? It came the Apple Store. And what did the Apple Store have? A lot of video games, like mobile games, right? So stuff like, and they were all my what became my like bread and butter game genre is like the hidden object games, like all sorts of really fun hidden object games and that kind of stuff. And this was before, like, I don't play like the Candy Crush stuff. Like I can't stand those. Like, but these were actual like games. It took a few hours to complete them. They're great. And I still love them to this day. I'll occasionally buy them on super sale, if like on Steam or stuff like that.
Oh, that's good. I was actually just remembering as a grown-ass adult, sometimes I'll sort of hate watch something and then decide I like it, or I'll hate listen to something and then decide I like it. That happens to me a lot. There's a lot of hate-driven stuff when it comes to me, I guess. And one of the things, I saw this game at a friend's house and thought it was really stupid, Katamari Damacy. And I started playing this damn game, and let me turn this down.
Oh, yes.
I became
yes, I've seen
very,
people
very
play
good
this.
at this stupid game. And it was just like it started as a spite thing, and then I started getting competitive with myself to master this thing. I spent way too much time playing this. But Functional, what are like milestone games for you?
I haven't played that, but I see it so much. I want to try it. Oh God. You guys maybe played the video games. I was molded by them. Like I'm such a hopeless gamer. To the point where it had became addictive, and I had to treat it as such in certain points of my life. Starting Netrek, which was a Mac classic game, black and white, where you had a solar system or a series of solar systems, and you picked either a Romulan, Federation, or Klingon ship, and you flew around and tried to find your people on the other people on the network and kill each other. Spent many a day in grade school doing that. Later on was again a lot of the same thing. I know I've brought it up on the show. It was a arena shooter called Marathon by the juggernauts Bungie, who are famous for making Halo and Destiny, and that was sort of the precursor to Halo. And funny enough, they just released today a teaser trailer of the new Marathon that they're bringing out, which is not an arena shooter. It's another fucking Apex Legends / Fortnite style game where you're a 3-man squad and you get dropped into this area and you have to scrounge for guns and everything. Like I really hate those styles of games, so I'm really kind of disappointed with that. And funny enough that you mentioned World of Warcraft, because I'm fishing as we speak right now in World of Warcraft, which I played ever since I was part of the original alpha test. Later became part of the beta test, and had pretty much for the 21 years of the runtime of this game, I've been playing it. Those were some of the most impactful. Now, the most impactful that was the most negatively impactful was probably Diablo 2, where, like I said, it became pretty much like any sort of substance addiction, where I would do and say anything to get a couple extra bucks, to get a couple extra hours in the internet cafes so that I could play this stupid game to achieve nothing, really. And I kicked that habit, but I understand that vice for me is something that I can easily slip into addiction, and I can't let it. So I'm always on guard for video gaming.
MMORPGs are a problem for me too. I think it's because part of it is when you're in a period of your life. So if everything is status quo, it's fine. Play a little bit. It's every other day, no worries.
Right.
Except if you're going through, at least I notice if I would go through like a depressive period or something, just very unhappy,
More and more.
because of the constant ability to finish quests, and there's more quests or finish achievements doing this, you get that dopamine, I guess, hit of positivity of I'm actually accomplishing something in my life, etc. So then it becomes a dangerous spiral.
Yep.
And
that doesn't help your depression. It feeds
oh
it.
no. And when I actually played, I stopped around, I can't remember if I got Warlords of Draenor or not. I entered at Burning Crusade. That was just before was it Frozen Throne or something came out.
Yeah, Frozen Throne.
Yeah, so the Burning Crusade expansion had been on for a little bit, but that's when I entered for like free play. And then I bought the next expansion and onward from there. And then so for quite a few years, on and off, I would buy membership. Like I never really like I would buy a game card for it. And yeah, it ended up being really great while I was part of a guild because you got more interaction with people. But then I stopped for a little while and they did a purge. And unfortunately, because I hadn't been online for a while, I was one of the ones that got purged. And the reason I stopped was because I noticed that I was spending way too much time instead of like doing schoolwork or doing stuff. And that was bad.
Yeah.
And when I logged back in, realizing, oh, okay, because there's no like Discord, there's nothing. It was just like log back in and you can chat with people in the guild. They're like, oh, I'm not in that anymore. It's no longer fun. Like I got so used to having, even if I didn't interact with anybody, but having the chat going, where you could read what people are doing
You
or
felt like
or
you were part
people.
of a community.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of nice. But without that, I was like, ugh, as much as I loved my character and I loved the story, it wasn't enough to bring me back to actually play again. And
Hmm.
then I was away from the MMORPGs until I fell into the Lotros trap. And I say trap is because it's a
Oh,
really good game. It's excellent.
Lord of the
But
Rings Online, she's talking
yeah.
about.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, sorry.
you
Lord of
get
the
a
Rings
lot of the
Online, yeah.
same thing. Like
It's
it's
great.
completing quests, but you're also in this fantasy world, which is something I know we're both like really into.
Mhm.
Sword and sorcery and magic
The
and
music is excellent.
yeah, yeah.
The
They
art is
invest a lot of
beautiful.
money into their
Oh, it's
music,
great.
their graphic
Yeah.
design, the UI design, all these different design elements because they literally are meant to keep you engaged and keep you playing. Because
And it's
that's
another
the formula
game
of these
that worked
games
for
making
Mac.
money. Yeah, yeah. That's another cross-platform.
Well, let me leave
Yeah.
you with one piece of trivia, Functional. You know the guy who killed that healthcare executive douche nozzle that
Yeah.
some people seem to be irrationally drawn to, like Bill Burr, Luigi Mangione. Little known fact about Luigi Mangione is he used to be a video game program guy, and he actually personally fixed more than 300 bugs on Civilization 6. There you go. Luigi Mangione,
Huh.
video game expert.
Huh.
Yeah. So, let's see. While Serenity's away, we could talk about chicken. I saw this. Yeah, I know. You're thinking, why are we talking about chicken? Well, it all will become clear in a moment. I saw this stupid thing. Oh, wait. No, this is me trying to make a point. The
A la cuisine.
ingredient is chicken.
The what?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
wait,
is
this
Iron. This is
raw.
Iron Chef.
Okay, that's the ingredient. Okay,
This is
sorry, I
our
thought that was
ingredient
the-
for tonight.
I thought that was the final dish.
Okay, so just sort of setting the stage there.
I-
I know, Iron Chef, Japan, I love it. So here's like a Michelin 3-star restaurant, and this is chicken basically steamed in a pig's bladder. It says chicken in Vessi. And I'm just sitting here thinking, France, you're so good at so many things. Why would anybody in their right mind want to steam a beautiful bird like that? That's just dumb. That's just not what you should do with a beautiful piece of meat like that. And I started thinking, there's a short list of things that a person ought to know how to do. If you're going to drive a car, you should know how to kind of change a tire. Doesn't mean you have to. Doesn't mean you can't make somebody else do it. But at a bare minimum, you should kind of know how to do that. You should know how to make an omelet. And honestly, roasting a chicken is not that damn hard. This is why I wanted Functional to be here for this thing. So I was thinking, Thomas Keller, the French Laundry.
yeah.
I mean, it's fairly straightforward. Once you basically tie the bird off into a nice compact shape, you stick it in a frying pan, you put some salt and pepper on top of the damn thing, and then you basically bung it in the oven. And what comes out the other end is actually something way better than steamed pig bladder chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, my mouth is already watering, and I mean it's raw chicken with some salt and pepper. But because I know the end result is, and he's putting some parsley on.
Thyme, I think.
Thyme?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
So he's gonna put it in the oven, and it's gonna come out the other end, and it's gonna look like this is basically what they do for like the house meal with the staff. Don't you wish you worked for Thomas Keller and you got fed that for dinner when you worked in the restaurant?
I mean, I kind of already did.
Sorry, Functional, we lost you.
I kind of already did, but
Yeah.
like because I was doing catering, it was sort of like, oh, today we have filet mignon on the menu. Well, guess who's eating filet mignon for lunch and dinner during his shift today? So
Yeah.
I mean, like you eat well if you can.
You have to tie a knot. You have to sprinkle some salt and pepper on it. You throw it in the oven, and it's absolutely, simple, right? So there is a restaurant in Paris that actually does like a rotisserie chicken, except it's
Like cooking for you. That's funny.
Oh, you know about? Oh, yeah. So essentially,
No, I just love the name.
It's a pretty great name. They do.
À la fois, en fait, c'est un triptyque. C'est d'abord la qualité de la volaille.
Yeah, first the quality of the bird.
Ensuite notre pochage.
Ouais. Then they poach it for 20
Le
minutes.
rôtissage sur une belle machine pour
And they
rôtir.
rotisserie it. They basically put it in chicken broth and poach it gently at, I think, 60 degrees centigrade for 20 minutes, just to basically give it a little bit of, seasoning and brining. And then they throw it on this
The
rotisserie.
process they use here to prepare the chicken.
Shut up, Alex. And you end up with this amazing bird that comes off the other end of it. And, this thing probably costs the same amount of money as that chicken in a pig bladder. Why wouldn't you just go here and have like the delicious roast chicken?
I guarantee you, it's 1,000 times better too.
Yeah, it's going to be
Chicken.
kind of wanna
You
try
can
this.
you can poach chicken. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, so
but
my favorite way to eat chicken, and it's gonna be plebeian. You take chicken, okay? You take your bone-in skin on chicken thighs. You put it on the bottom of a pressure cooker. You add water. You cut a few carrots to it and cook it. Nothing else. You can season the water. You can put pepper. You can put your salt, whatever, if you want, but not necessary. I do like adding either Vegeta or like herba mare salt to it. That's actually quite tasty like that. But you cook it, let it do the pressure cooker do its thing. Once it's at the pressure cooker stage, about 20 minutes, let go of the steam, and it's like the best chicken ever. I love that. That is like, it's baby food, and it's the best way to eat chicken.
I like the crispy skin, though. I admit I'm kind of a savage when it comes to that sort of thing. But if you're interested in like getting really just the best breast meat possible off of it, cooking it like you're talking about works so well, because you can get all that flavor into it, and the pressure cooker pushes all that flavor into the vegetables too. So I'll bet that's delicious. I would eat that.
I make that for my dogs, minus the over season. And then I'll sometimes add rice to that for an extra 7 minutes in the pressure cooker.
Yeah, I have.
There's nothing wrong with that, but when we're talking about just plain bird, and the bird is basically that's it. You're making a meal, Sora. We're talking about just the bird part. Why would anybody want to pay premium prices for a steamed? Again, poached bird, not bad, not awful, not the worst thing in the world.
No,
fine, it's fine. But why would you go for fine when you can have a beautifully, perfectly roast chicken? It's. I can see where Harry's coming from. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, chicken is it's one of those basic skills. It's one of those basic skills. And you can even buy chickens that come already trussed up. You literally pat it dry with a paper towel, put salt and pepper on it, put it in the oven. Just get a thermometer.
That's a secret technique that many people don't do. They don't pat their bird dry.
Here's the secret technique. 30 minutes at 350, then turn it up to 425. Because if you don't actually let the chicken come up closer to room temperature to basically temper, like Thomas Keller talks about, starting at a lower temperature, bringing the whole bird up a little bit, and then getting the crispy skin at the end just works better. It's almost idiot proof.
But that's also why you brine, is so that the outside gets crispier, because it becomes more inundated with the moisture and the salty of the brine that helps it crisp up as well. So I mean, there's varying degrees of what you can do, but you're right. There's the very basic.
Sanguine's in the chat. We
Oh,
talked about food so long, we attracted Sanguine.
Hey, we
So-
summoned that. That's got to be some power.
That is some power. Here we were talking about rotisserie chicken in France that's 140 euros, and we got him. Yeah.
I think we kind of glossed over the whole point of pig bladder. Pig bladder.
Well, it's in
Possibly,
Vessi.
like
Yeah.
urine. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Well, beefsteak and kidney pie is actually delicious, but the preparation of the kidneys, where you boil all the crap out of them, is not pleasant. That
But
is not
you're
good.
just doing all of this to poach a bird for no better reason. Like, again, poach bird is fine, but that's something that I would do if I was somewhere where I couldn't get it into an oven or couldn't get a fire going, a rotisserie, something. Like, that's sort of like and I don't want to like denigrate anyone, but it's sort of like the poor man's, I have no other option, I have to poach it, kind of like, yeah, it's fine.
Well,
But
poached
why would
chicken
you poach
breast.
it in a bladder, in a pig bladder?
Yeah. Poached chicken breast is actually beautiful if you want to basically shred it and put it on top of a salad. There's a lot of uses for poached chicken breast, like making a chicken salad sandwich, right? So, but I'm not the boss of anybody. I can't tell you your soul is going to rot if you don't learn how to make a chicken, any more so than you're going to be stuck and die by the side of the road if you don't learn to change a tire. But there are just certain basic skills. Learn to sew on a button, learn to make an omelet, learn to cook a chicken. And, I think that the basically, like, unless you're a vegetarian, knowing how to just roast a simple chicken is a basic skill that everybody should have. That's my
because
thesis.
it's the survival. No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
I
say
would agree.
basic. I say it's down there. It's one of the things you probably should. But I think even more basic than that is learn how to cook an egg.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that's why I said an omelet first, just to sort of get things
I
started.
know.
So I have for you a poulet cleanser as opposed to a palate cleanser.
Macron!
Yeah. I love the French.
Oh, je voudrais qu'on voit la gueule de votre poussin.
Je veux compter là-dessus. Père, voici ton fils. Fils, voici ton père. Papa. Oui, mesdames et messieurs, ce monstre.
I think his little sidekick is actually funnier.
Il me promet la vie de château, les trajets en Rolls. Bref, il m'opère les filles.
Advocating
The French cracked me
That's
up.
his baby.
The French totally cracked me up. Okay.
I don't get the French. Sorry.
Ah, the French.
Anyway. There you go. A poulet cleanser.
Thank
Never
you.
had one of those before.
That was great.
Yeah, it was good times. Some check boxes in the old spreadsheet. Sounds dirty when you say it that way. Let's see, where are we?
Harry's been saving that bit for like months now.
I know. I found it this
And he
morning when
finally
I was
gets
looking for
he
videos
finally
of French
gets the
people making
release he
chicken.
needed.
Yeah. Well, actually, when we were doing the Canadian thing, I had this set aside, depending on how the conversation went. Let's see, where are we? Canadians. I have to scroll to the right.
Will you shut up? Ah, now we're being violence inherent in the system. Shut up!
I'm being
Come and see
repressed.
the violence inherent in the system. Help! Help! I'm being repressed. Blood.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Yeah. A narco-communist radical syndicalist. Okay. Yeah, let's see. So do we have Serenity back yet? No. No, we do not have her back. But we've got Skep. And he's being very good and staying muted.
But why?
He's unmuted, but he's not talking.
Well, no, I'm understated. What?
Okay.
What am
So
I
you want to talk
supposed
about vibe coding a little bit? Have you even heard about vibe coding, Skep?
I used Vi, and I am
No, not
ashamed.
Vi. Not Vi.
What?
Vibe.
I used to run my code out.
No. V-I-B-E.
You're not talking about
No.
Coding with feeling.
No, we're talking about. So there's this article in the ACM Communication Journal the last solo programmers. So this would be me, right? Guy who thinks stuff through. So the term vibe coding was recently coined by Kaparthi.
I can't hear the word. Is it vibe?
VIBE. Victor Indigo Baseball Echo.
So vibe.
Yeah.
Like vibing with Kamala. Vibing with Kamala's campaign. So this is vibe programming?
Yes. Somebody's being very noisy and crunchy with potato chips.
Crunchy.
Okay. The term vibe coding was recently coined by Shemp Kaparthi.
Who? Oh, Shemp.
Hold on. I'm going to...
Oh my God.
Who is making that noise?
Oh, it's Serenity.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Serenity.
What?
That's really coming through. Okay. One more time. The term vibe coding was recently coined by Andrei Kaparthi. It refers to a coding approach that involves presenting natural language descriptions of a problem to solve and relying on an AI for actual code generation. This contrasts with the traditional knowing what the fuck you're doing method that Harry does. So
this is bullshit, Harry.
It is bullshit, but this
is bullshit on a stick.
It is bullshit on a stick, but you know, there's this channel that I love, the one that had the Emacs thing. Our friend has done a little skit surrounding vibe coding. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew what this was, where you basically just ask the AI to make a thing. So I'm just going to give you a little sample from was it Programmers Are People Too thing, so you can see that.
See the logo, masterpiece, 4K, popular on ArtStation. This is production code, yeah, producing loads of cash. Technical debt. I'm not technical. Agent has ended. I end the agent.
So he's trying to make the game there on the right, which is like a driving game.
I almost typed this command. Cursor, make no mistakes, don't hallucinate. Windsurf is so February the 2nd. Who's Devin? You are a senior game engine developer. Punished by the system. You went into several board meetings where no decisions were made. Fix it now, or you go to jail. Please.
So he's giving the AI the conditions to get it to generate the game for him.
This is programming, huh?
Yeah. This is vibe programming in 2025. I love this Programmers Are Also Human channel. I think his stuff is hilarious.
I have to check that out. I don't know the channel.
He also has one which came out just 4 days ago. Senior engineer tries vibe coding. So this would be like if I tried to do vibe coding.
Right.
Oh no.
Don't use PHP. Don't use Perl. Don't use JavaScript. You are a 30-year veteran coder from NASA. Why are you rewriting it to Lisp? Am I allowed to use those images? Who's doing moderation?
Yeah, baby.
Is this APR conform? Still not working. You only
There's
work
one
on
Lisp
AY.
programmer on this call who remembers how to write throws and catches.
It's like you imagine a real programmer trying to give prompts to AI to generate code.
Yeah,
why are you? You're a 30-year veteran programmer from NASA. Why are you writing it in Lisp? I know Skip and I both know why.
Because I can. because it's the first object-oriented.
Because you look like a wizard. You've got a long beard. You probably wear suspenders.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, a big hat with moons on it.
Exactly. God, this one guy that I used to work with, he literally had the whole appearance. He was actually a. I mean this unironically, like a druid, like a serious high-level actual druid. And he had like a wizard.
There's a religion. There's a religion, people.
And he had like a wizard staff in his cubicle. And anyway, nice guy. I actually really liked him. He was a good dude. But you don't really get that kind of local flavor anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, those days are gone. If he asks you to
a bonfire, don't go.
Yeah, especially if the moon's out.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good at all.
Nah, he wouldn't have done anything bad like that. He was a good dude.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was involved in comic book production, and he was involved in a thing where they were, as part of the comic book art, there were going to be some symbols, some magical symbols as part of this supposed summoning thing. He actually ran it by the Druid guy to make sure they didn't accidentally put something provocative. Not because they thought it would actually literally do anything.
Just to not be offensive.
It just seemed like a good idea not to actually put the instruction manual for demon summoning in the comic book. That's that's called due diligence.
That's due diligence, and it's due diligence that's doing diligence in a couple of different areas. Not only making sure the supernatural doesn't come unglued, but it's also just considerate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So here's a dog.
He's Cubert.
Let's do that again.
That's too good.
Little chunky baby.
Yeah, I like that. I like that
Dog
video.
takes his steered real seriously.
So who was it that was mentioning ice fishing earlier? I think it was Functional.
Well, ice fishing in World of Warcraft.
Close enough. I'll take any opportunity for a segue.
Virtual ice fishing.
Gonna come back for it.
So do we realize what we're looking at?
They're looking at a live cam of actual fishing down the hole.
Yep, jerk, real.
So these guys are ice fishing
give
in
him any
this
slack.
luxurious ice fishing platform they've put together.
I mean, if you can go glamping, this is kind of similar. I
ain't gonna judge.
Yeah.
I am. It doesn't make it any less gay.
There you go.
Yeah, I have this filed under men are awesome. It is pretty awesome. I mean, it's like
it's awesome, but I'd still rather roll up my sleeves and do it myself than have it on the screen. I like the idea. They have Jaws or something up on the top left monitor. They're watching TV. Watching the fish monitor and I'd rather catch the fish myself.
The electric fireplace is good. They must have one hell of a Honda generator to keep all this stuff going.
Solar power.
Yes, solar power ice fishing.
I like the anglerfish skeleton above it.
I have one more. Here's a
It's not that big, but yeah.
Here's a public service announcement from a Dr. Bill Cosby. Let's see what he has to say.
Uh-oh.
This is Bill Cosby. Now that everybody has told you about the dangers of doing drugs, I'd like to tell you about some of the benefits. Just imagine yourself unconscious, making a visit to a hospital emergency room, weeks in rehabilitation centers, nights in overcrowded prisons, spending more money than you can afford, ruining your health, hurting your parents, losing your loved ones, and most of all, destroying yourself. And remember what I say about doing drugs. I think you can say no.
I don't think you can if you don't know they're in the drink.
Not if you don't.
Is this like things that aged poorly?
This is actually things that aged poorly. That's the hot Cosby is always bad. You don't want to get the hot Cosby. Let's see. How about, let's see, was there something important? See, I've got a military history thing, but it can wait until next week. We did vibe coding. That's good. I guess we can go through a couple more palette cleansers. Let's see. Serenity.
Yo.
How do you feel about the color yellow?
I don't have a problem with it compared to certain situations.
Today you're going to watch me melt down some of my
Oh, I know this girl, the Marigold girl.
Oh,
yeah.
I love her so much.
For those
I love her so much.
She is so
subscribe
obsessed.
to her. She's the best.
She's so obsessed.
It's wonderful.
For y'all that don't know, Dandelion
she's
crayons
wholesome.
retired back
She
in
is wholesome.
2017, and they were my
I
favorite
love
growing
her
up, so I've been
whole
collecting them ever since.
frickin'
While also
room
collecting
and her
any broken
crafts
ones that I
that she
came
makes.
across. Because this old thimble shelf up here that I used to keep
she's
trinkets in,
the
it has
hero.
9 slots in it. And there are 9 letters in the word dandelion. So I thought it would look cool to melt down the dandelions and put them in letter mode so we can spell out dandelion in this show.
She's gonna melt down her broken crayons so she can make dandelion yellow wax letters.
There's lots of gold right there.
Yeah,
Very
I
cheesy.
admire her dedication.
She just
And it
met
does-
the dandelion crayon.
It does look a little
her
craft
latest
dinner, doesn't it?
Short.
It does, but that's okay.
I translated it to Canadian.
God, I
Thank
love
you.
all
We
her
appreciate
stuff.
it.
You're welcome.
And it's so cute. Like she's done a few shorts where she got one of those you go to the thrift store and you buy a jar full of random broken jewelry, and then the things that pulls out, and then what she does with them. It's great. I love it.
Even in things that I don't care about, I can admire the dedication.
Well, also she doesn't seem to be as like bad obsessive. Like it's not her entire room; it's one wall, and it's chill.
I don't know. It looks pretty obsessive.
I mean, it looks cool. It looks
If
like
you're telling me it's just the one wall, then I believe you. But I mean, just from the short.
I only have the one wall with all the JFK stuff with the yarn and the pins. Oh wait, no.
There you go.
Talk about that. Okay.
And then she has all these like mini trinket shelves on trinket. That's hard to say. Shelves and all these little like. So she basically embodies the maximalism. Kind of.
But it's still controlled.
A lot of it is she finds it through Etsy or eBay or thrift stores or garage sales. She cleans them up. She repurposes a lot of stuff. It's so nice to watch.
Yeah.
When you have like the world is so crap around you. Like I like this. This is great.
And okay, so for the guys, I have not forgotten about you. Here is melting copper wire into a guitar neck.
This is probably the coolest guitar neck I've ever made. It's a full bronze neck I built out of a bunch of copper wire and a little bit of tin. Here's how it went.
Shiny.
Yeah, so he's basically, doing casting to get this thing into the right sort of shape. Sand casting is certainly a very, very old technique for doing anything. I watch way too much Repair Shop. And just like the knife show, right? Functional.
Yeah, Forged in Fire.
So he's taking all this copper and a little bit of tin, melting it down, and he's going to make a neck for a guitar. And then he's going to clean this thing up, and obviously some work needs to be done here. But the end product is pretty amazing. It would definitely work on your core strength, Skep, if you tried to actually play this thing.
Well, there's several problems here. First of all, copper. That's the big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Strings are going to destroy that. Strings are bronze or have a bronze coating or a nickel coating, and they are just going to tear that to pieces. That is an ornament, but wouldn't realistically playable, for as long as you wanted to maintain it, but you'd be constantly polishing that and cleaning the nicks. If he's not going to put standard fret wire in there, then the frets will be too soft. If he puts standard fret wire in there, the frets will sink because of the copper. There's a lot of mechanical problems. This is a cool looking idea. It's lots of clicks, great stuff. Sell a lot of ads on YouTube, but as a practical guitar, it might work as a proof of concept, but I don't think it would last for very long.
I don't think so either, but it looks cool. That's what matters.
It looks absolutely stunning. I want one actually.
Yeah. That's just the best thing.
Yep.
I had this copper LED flashlight that was just like the best thing. It was kind of like this big hunk of copper with this really high power emitter in it. I may be a bit of a flashlight junkie, and I loved that thing until the emitter gave out. But for far too long in IRL, I'd be telling people, "Hey, you want to see my copper flashlight?" And they'd be like, "No, here, see it anyway."
Yeah, exactly. I get that.
Did I mention it's made of copper? It's okay. I have a titanium flashlight now, so.
So you overpay for flashlights.
I also overpay for shoes, but I don't buy them over and over again now.
No, I feel that.
I'm still on the same pair of shoes from like 20 years, pretty much.
When I find a pair, I stick with them.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's anything else that we have to talk about. No, we're going to save that for next week. It's going to be awesome. So I think we should probably just say goodnight to everybody. Anybody have anything else before we go?
For anybody who's interested, I did post another couple of guitar playing videos on the SkepTok channel on YouTube. So
good.
There if you want to laugh at me.
Oh, no, I've seen you play. I would never laugh at you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, this has been your Minions of the Zoo. Wait, what?
Before we go, Assassin asks you if you are a flashlight junkie. He's asking how many Surefires, Arisakas, or Mod lights do you have?
I haven't had a Surefire for a long time, or Streamlight. Surefire is Surefire, in my opinion, is kind of like the Benchmade knife of flashlights. You know, it's expensive, but it's like good quality, and they have their very reliable batteries. But I've moved on to much more bougie things than that. So go to a place called darksucks.com. And you'll find a lot of that stuff. So he'll actually do bespoke lights sometimes. But he puts
You've given out that link before.
I have given out that link.
I went there and checked it out. It's a really cool site.
But if I just want like a cheaper flashlight that's still like sort of mil spec kind of thing, not going to be mounted on like a Picatinny rail system or anything like that. It's not designed for the Surefire stuff. But as an EDC type of light, CountyComm, County, COMM, all one word, .com, and they have all kinds of surplus vinyl stuff from Meritech and custom flashlights and some really cool knives occasionally, and compasses and all kinds of things that make my Y chromosome really happy. All right.
And for those who don't know what EDC means, it means everyday carry.
Yeah.
And then one last thing.
Yep.
Sanguine, to explain the background about that, the girl's clip. Dandelion crayon was her favorite color since her childhood, and it was canceled apparently, or discontinued. It's one of the discontinued colors from a few years back. And so that's why she started collecting all the broken dandelions that she could find to keep that color in her collection. And then that evolved from there. Friends and families found and the same crayons. She would get them from thrift stores, and that's why not the other 25 colors.
And I think they brought the color back this year.
Yeah, I think it's part of like a cross America thing. It's or at least for a short period of time.
Remember this guy? Him right here? He's back for a limited time. But first, for anyone who doesn't know, I have a dandelion crayon wall. And this is a dandelion crayon. It was my all-time favorite crayon as a kid that was later discontinued in 2017, so now I have a whole wall dedicated to it. And the man, Dan D himself, is officially back in a limited edition Crayola crayon pack.
There you go. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There's
well,
lore.
I will. We're gonna have some fun. There's some stuff that I just cannot show for the show. I'm sorry, everybody, but we will get canceled in a hot minute over some of the stuff we're gonna share in the after party. So I'll send the link to you, Sanguine, and I'll talk to you all later. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
So long, farewell.